And welcome to On the Money. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, and I'm joined today by Ryan Wheless and Peter Lott of Allied Wealth. Ryan, how are you?
I am doing so good, Cynthia. It's a great day. Got a couple stories to tell here today about old Pete, the airplane, on the way out here. So
Okay,
gonna be a fun show.
I love that. I love stories about Pete specifically. This will be fun.
They're funny. They're funny.
It's always the Pete's
I think that's why they have me here.
It's the whole reason why you're here, Pete. Is to be funny.
Hey, to be the butt of somebody's joke. I can do it. I can do it. I'm good.
And how are you doing, Pete?
I am great. I'm great. I'm glad you guys have me today for sure.
I'm glad.
Absolutely. It's wonderful.
I'm glad I'm getting to see you.
I do. I'm glad you got to see me.
I know. I'm glad I'm getting to see you.
Well, gentlemen, I know obviously, of course, you've been so incredibly busy. We talked about that before the show started this morning, that obviously the phone's been ringing off the hook. People are coming in. They're booking one consultation after the next. And a lot of questions are pertaining to the stock market, Ryan, correct?
Indeed. There's a lot of volatility going on, a lot of ups and downs. And I kind of equate it to this. We were flying out here to do the show, and we're at 28,000 feet, and we start flying across the jet stream, which is the really fast rush of air that, brings cold air down from Canada across the United States. And Pete's in the front seat of the plane with me, and he's starting to doze off. And I'm equating that to people that are like really comfortable when the market's going up all the time.
Yeah.
They kind of get complacent, if you will. And all of a sudden, we hit the first series of bumps, and we're bumping along pretty good.
There with my nap.
Pete wakes up out of his nap like that. And I'm like, Pete, that must be how our prospective clients and some of our clients might feel when the stock market volatility hits.
Probably right.
Thank God I didn't have to hand Pete a barf bag.
Right.
I have had to do that once, by the way.
Hey, you were flying loops that day. You were flying loops that day. Come on, give me some credit here.
Yeah. But in all seriousness, folks, that's kind of what we like to equate the ups and downs to.
It is.
And if you're working with the right advisor and you have a proper plan and you understand how your portfolio works, you understand that it's turbulence in some part of the flight. Because what happened, Pete, we actually flew across the jet stream. It was really cool because our ground speed that we were going across the ground dropped almost 100 knots, which means we were flying into a 100-knot wind. And it took us, maybe 20 minutes to get across it? And in 20 minutes, we were through it, and our ground speed went back up, turbulence went away, and we had a beautiful flight on the way into the studios here, and it was awesome. And so, it's one of those things where I feel like that's a good analogy for our viewers to understand that sometimes when you're flying along, there's turbulence.
Yeah.
There is.
But the wings aren't going to fall off the airplane.
Yeah.
Right? They're just not. It doesn't work like that, right? And
Right.
Well, a good airplane, right?
A good airplane,
well
right?
built,
Yeah. We're in the good airplane business at Allied Wealth. So to that end, it's one of those things where I kind of equate that to, if you're experiencing this volatility, two things I would tell you to do. Get a second opinion on what you're currently doing. Get a second opinion. Make sure you're not somebody who finds out you're taking too much risk in your portfolio when the statement comes in the mail and you realize, oh my God, I'm down 30%. Make sure you know how your portfolio works. Make sure you know how your portfolio behaves, and be connected to your overall plan, because if you are and you do hit some turbulence, you're not panicking. You can still go out to dinner, Friday night with your honey and go to the steakhouse instead of McDonald's, because you can go out and spend money with confidence in retirement.
You're right, Ron. I had a client call in about 2 weeks ago. He just sold his business. He was going to jump in the RV and go cross country. And he called one of the big box advisors. They were going to put a plan together for him, and he thought that was what he's going to do. But a gut instinct came over him, and he said, "I want a second opinion." So he gave us a call. We start going through what he was doing, and did all over the phone. It was super quick and easy. And in about 30 minutes, he was able to figure out that this plan that he thought was going to be so great actually is going to achieve him about half the average annual return that we could produce for him, but also take about 2/3 more risk. So he's taking a lot more risk, getting half the return. He saw what we could do for him, and I think he bought a nicer RV because of it. He's out in the Davis Mountains right now, so he's getting to enjoy his retirement because of things like that.
Yeah.
And having that initial just thought to have somebody else look at it. It doesn't cost anything. It's free.
No.
Absolutely. And so you're a huge advocate, of course, of having the second opinion. Would you equate that to going to the doctor and getting a diagnosis and then having another opinion from a different doctor?
Well, Cynthia, I mean, heaven forbid if I could go to the doctor and he says, Ryan, you've got 6 months to live, I can promise you, whether I've been with this doctor for 20 or 30 years, I'm probably going to go talk to 2 or 3 more doctors.
Sure,
right?
absolutely.
And it's the same thing, folks, because, you know, when you get into your golden years, you know, you've only got so much life left. And hopefully it's 30 or 40 years, maybe 35, 45 years, whatever it is. And so to me, in that instance, your time is actually the most valuable thing that
Absolutely.
you have.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
And being able to enjoy your time is valuable. And money is a tool to help you enjoy that time.
Yeah.
And so if you're going to retire and money depend on your life savings to generate the income you need so you can go out and enjoy retirement, it is super important to understand how your money is managed, how it works, and more importantly, have a plan. So if, you know, the markets do pull back some and you see a portfolio drop a little bit, don't just look at that. Take that and apply it to your overall probability of success of your overall plan, like we do for our clients in our office, and just say, hey, I went from an 86% success rate to an 84% success rate. Am I still okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, the answer is yes,
Absolutely.
you are. And guess what? The markets eventually will go back up at some point in time, and your plan might move from an 84% success rate up to an 88% success rate. But as long as you're looking at more of the success rate of your overall plan instead of what the ups and downs are in the market and the turbulence, so to speak, of the airplane, it's just such a better way to do things. But so many people out there that are working with advisors and the big box retail names and the strip centers and the banks, that sort of thing, they're not planners, folks.
No,
they're
they're not.
salespeople.
They're not.
They sell financial products and they sell mutual funds and variable annuities for commissions, and that's what they do. And there's nothing wrong with that. All right, because that's their business model, and that's their right to do that. But if you're looking for a comprehensive plan that can help get you to and through retirement, Allied Wealth is a firm for you, because that's what we do with our clients every single day.
Yeah.
Another thing it does is we can go in and figure out how much in fees you're paying. That is huge, man. And in that portfolio, he was close to a little over 2 because there was the advisor fee, but then there was also the fund fee. The fund he was in had some fairly high fees, and we went and identified that. So we saved him fees. We got more return for him, taking less risk. It was a no-brainer. And a lot of
It's a
people
win-win.
don't know what they're paying in fees.
The other thing,
Yeah.
Pete, is this guy wanted $60,000 a year in income and had $1 million portfolio, right? Well, if he's paying 2% a year in fees, he's paying $20,000 a year in fees. Wow. So that's 1/3 of his income he's trying to
That's
take
a
out of
nice
his
vacation.
portfolio
Oh my
that's being paid to an advisor because he's taking too much. He's paying too much in fees.
And he had no idea he was paying that.
He had no idea. He had no
Oh
idea.
my gosh.
He thought it was just the advisor fee, but the software that we use, we can bring that right up on his screen. He was at home. I brought it right up on his screen at home. He looked at it and thought, well, I mean, we need to meet, and we did.
Yeah, yeah.
And thank God he called.
Yeah.
I mean, thank God he took advantage of the offer. Thank God he called and got involved, and we were able to help him and put him on the right path. And that's just what we love doing. It's just
Yeah.
so gratifying.
It is.
Absolutely. And you're all about the right path, the flight path, if you will.
Yes,
and Ryan,
ma'am.
I know that you and Peter have a very special offer to present to the viewers. Let's talk about
Absolutely,
what that is and then
folks. So
open the phone lines.
We offer a financial flight plan, and what the financial flight plan is at first we dive into what your risk tolerance is, but more importantly, what your risk capacity is. And risk capacity is how much can you afford to lose in a down market and still maintain your lifestyle in your golden years. The next thing we're going to do is build an investment plan around your risk capacity and make sure the investments are not going to wipe you out in the event of a major market crash, which are going to happen, folks. After that, we're going to develop an income plan for you that allows you to go out into the world and spend money with confidence. And that includes, by the way, getting every dollar out of Social Security that's already rightfully yours. Next thing we're going to do is build a tax plan. And tax planning is so important. We have people that are being forced right now to liquidate their IRAs to the tune of $300,000 a year in forced distributions. And the tax liabilities on those are absolutely astonishing. And lastly, we're going to build a legacy plan for you to make sure that when you pass on, your money passes to your heirs in the most efficient manner possible. And more importantly, your family unit stays together, because I've seen it go the other way, and it's very painful to watch. So to take advantage of the flight plan is so easy. All you have to do is call 844-944-7555. You can click the QR code in the bottom of your screen or go to onthemoneytv.com. Again, 844-944-7555.
Ryan, thank you so much. Peter, thank you so much. To the viewers at home, the phone number to call is on your screen, and that number is 844-944-7555. We're going to take a very short commercial break, but when we come back, we're going to talk about building your retirement plan. So please stay tuned.
How confident are you in your current financial plan? Do you know with certainty how the recent market volatility will affect your future hopes and dreams? How much are you paying in taxes? And how much are you losing to unnecessary high fees? You didn't work to save this money so that you could spend your time worried in retirement. Now is the time to take charge of your finances so you can feel confident about your future. Call in during the next 30 minutes of today's show only to set up an absolutely complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review that will result in your own customized written plan that we're giving away complimentary to the first 10 people who respond. We'll start with a full-blown analysis of what you already have by running a report to untangle how much you are currently paying in fees, how you're allocated for risk, and what it's costing to work with your current advisor. Next, we'll identify your goals. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you want to go? And who do you hope to go there with? Is your current financial plan set up to get you there without mishap? Let's design a roadmap to create a financial plan you can follow with confidence. Get the piece that so many people are missing from their retirement. Find out how having a written plan can make a difference to your retirement dreams. Call now to schedule your complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review today.
And welcome back to On the Money. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, and I'm joined today by Ryan Wheless and Peter Lott of Allied Wealth. I'm so wanting to talk to you about the flight thing that I'm getting distracted right now, because obviously in the commercial break we were talking about the fact that you were the pilot on the flight here. And so when we were talking about that in the first segment, I was thinking about it, wondering when you said you were going to hand a BART bag if needed. I thought, so that's amazing. So you actually flew your plane here.
Yes, ma'am,
Let's
I did.
Talk about it.
I did. My dad is a 737 pilot with United. He flew F-14s in the Navy, so I've been around aviation most of my life. And I love flying. And I actually started out in the world going to flight school down at San Jacinto College here in Houston. Went through flight school, made straight A's for the first time in my life, and got through, and the terrorist attacks happened. And so that really put the airline industry into a tailspin, and I was in a situation to where I couldn't find an aviation job. I was fortunate to work contract pilot for quite a while, and I've flown Lear jets and Citation jets and Falcon jets, King Airs, all kind of stuff. But now, as a result of being able to help so many people retire well, I've been able to accumulate some money myself and some wealth myself, and I own an airplane. And it's one of those things where it's a blessing. Pete and I use the airplane quite a bit because we service the entire state of Texas and go see clients, and I absolutely love flying. And really, Cynthia, it's one of those things where I equate aviation into my career all the time.
Yeah, I love that, because obviously the financial flight plan, so that goes hand in hand. Yeah,
it does. And so, we used to call the offer the financial blueprint, and I'm like, let's change this, because the reality is there's so much in my life on a day-to-day basis that I relate to aviation in some capacity, something from aviation that I use to make a decision or take action. And so why not call it a financial flight plan? Folks, even if you're scared to fly, you can still get the financial flight plan, right? But the thing is that, and I'll kind of give you an example here, all right? So when you fly a jet, it's got 2 engines. When you fly the jet with 2 engines, every time you take off, you're planning for one of the engines to fail. Every single time. All right. So the way it works is you bring your power up, and you look at the power gauges, and then you're looking for the airspeed indicators to come alive and start going up. The co-pilot calls out 80 knot cross check to verify the airspeed indicators are matching, because you don't want one say you're going fast and one say you're going slow.
Don't confuse it. I'm not the co-pilot, by the way.
No,
I get to run the lights. Let me turn the lights.
He runs the POE. And so the next thing is that the co-pilot calls out B1, and B1 is decision speed. So what that means is my hands come off the throttles, and no matter what happens from that point forward, the airplane's going flying.
Wow.
Because the airplane can fly on one engine, all right, if it loses an engine, okay? And so if we lose an engine at V1 speed, we're going flying. That's decision. We're going into the air. And so the reason why you do that is you probably don't have enough runway left to stop the airplane. All right, so you go into the air. So we take off, we gear up, flaps up, and then we're going to go to 1,500 feet. And at 1,500 feet, we then start to assess the problem and try to get the engine restarted or whatever it is. Usually, we're going to go back and land at the airport we took off from. All right, but let's say the weather's bad. Let's say it's really foggy outside, and we can't get back into that airport because the approach doesn't go low enough to get us in. Well, now we've got to go to an alternate airport. All right, and we go to that alternate airport with one engine, by the way. All right, and we have to fly the approach there. And we have to be able to get into that airport. Well, for some reason, the weather goes kaput there. We have to be able to go shoot that approach and then go to the next airport that's within 45-minute range of us and fly for another 45 minutes.
Wow.
And this is all stuff that we brief every time we put a jet into the sky. Not sometimes, every single time.
Redundancy.
And there's so much redundancy built into it. It's why aviation is so safe.
Yeah.
And that's where we take those experiences and we bring that to the financial flight plan, which is why we call it the financial flight plan. We're trying to build a financial plan that has the same redundancies and safety factors as a flight plan for a jet, putting a jet into the sky. And that's what we do.
I love that. Well, I don't want to digress too much, but now I'm wondering, so if you have these different alternative airports.
If you wait long enough, typically about 5 minutes knowing Ryan, he's going to tell you he's a pilot. So
I love it. I love
it doesn't take long. I'm surprised we made it this far in the episode.
I think it's amazing. So do you have to get clearance from the different airports in advance? Because you said you planned for this just in case. So do they all know that you might need to land there?
It depends if the airport has a control tower or not. So above 18,000 feet in the United States, you're on what's called an IFR flight plan, and jets fly at 18,000 feet and above. So you're going to get clearance. To get into that airport, the alternate airport, it's a matter of whether or not you have to go there. And so you take off, the tower switches you from the control tower of the airport over to departure control. And departure, you say, hey, departure, Learjet 900 Gulf, we've lost our left engine. We can't make it back into Hooks Airport because the approach is below minimums. The weather's below the approach minimums. We're going to go to our alternate airport. And they'll say, okay, Learjet 900 Gulf, fly heading 090, radar vectors for the ILS approach in the Conroe, descend and maintain 2,000 feet. Let us know if you need to roll the equipment.
Wow.
And that's how it all works. And it's just as fast as can be. But we train for it over and over again. I remember the first time I ever flew a jet, I did 25 hours of training in the simulator. And every single thing was being thrown at you. One of the engines always failed. One of the flaps always went up, and the other one didn't go up. Or the cockpit was full of smoke, or your co-pilot died, or people in the back are in a fight, or whatever it was. And the first time I ever flew a jet was rolling down a runway full of people, and I'm like, so scared that something's going to happen, and everything worked.
Oh, wow. That's great.
It's like, oh, man, everything actually works. So, folks, I feel it's such an important thing to be able to bring back to financial planning and retirement planning, because we can build those redundancy factors in. We can look ahead and know what's coming our way. And if in the event that whatever that it is coming our way, if we plan for it to happen, we're going to be in a situation where we can deal with it and don't have to panic and ultimately wind up, potentially crashing the airplane.
Sure, and I love how you always talk about that you plan for the worst case scenario with your clients just in case.
Every time.
And that way you know that no matter what happens, you're prepared and they're going to be okay.
Yeah, I won't take a client on unless the worst case scenario, they still have some money left over.
That's exactly
because if
right.
they don't have money left over at the worst case scenario and we get there, that's not good for me. I sleep better knowing my clients, the worst case scenario, everything's going to be okay.
And to that end, the planning that we do, we had a guy come in, husband and wife, and they wanted to buy an $800,000 piece of property in Naples, Florida, and retire there. All right, and they wanted to spend $100,000 a year out of their portfolio too. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, guys, look, I can get you to $90,000, and $90,000 leaves money left over. All right, so if I get you to $100,000, $110,000, we start having a worst case scenario shortfall of money. I mean, you're going to be there's a chance you're out of money. I don't like that. And so he was like, man, I really want to get to that number. So tell you what, there's one thing we're not factoring here. You're buying an $800,000 piece of property. So if that property value appreciates over time at simply 1% a year, we could always do a reverse mortgage, which I'm not a fan of, by the way, or we could sell the property and fill up that income shortfall. So the reality is, if you're okay doing that, and you understand that could be a potential thing that happens down the road, then this plan will work, and we can't make that work for you. But again, that goes back to aviation. We had an out, and the out was very simply the fact that he had this piece of property here, and that could fill up the gap in his worst case scenario. So folks, if what I'm saying with you is resonating, whether you're scared to jump on an airplane or not, the financial flight plan is for you. And the way to get it is super simple. You call 844-944-7555. Click the QR code, and the benefits you'll receive is peace of mind. You're going to be able to go out into the world and spend money with confidence in retirement. You're going to know that if you are hearing the stock markets crashing on television, that you're going to be okay. You're going to know if you enter into turbulence in the air, that you're going to be okay, folks. And that's what we do at Allied Wealth for our clients and our prospective clients. And I invite you to come in, check out what we do. We do it complimentary. We don't charge for it, and it's something that we can do for you. To get the flight plan is very simple. Call 844-944-7555, click the QR code. And folks, coming up in the break, you're going to see a pretty powerful and moving commercial put out by the Mighty Oaks Warriors program. Allied Wealth and my team are avid supporters of the Mighty Oaks Warrior program. We have 20 soldiers a day commit suicide right here on U.S. soil. It is my goal to get that number to a big fat 0. I want you to help me do it. Please enjoy the commercial.
Ryan, thank you so much, man. Thank you so much to the viewers. Or Peter, thank you so much. I'm all about the flight right now.
She's still flying the airplane.
The number to call is on your screen, 844-944-7555. We'll be right back after this very touching and important video. Stay tuned.
Many of our veterans feel they need to fight their battles alone. This self-isolation has led to the staggering statistic of more than 20 veterans taking their lives every day. The mission of Mighty Oaks is to eradicate the veteran suicide epidemic and help our warriors change their legacies. We've been able to help over 4,000 veterans and first responders by equipping them with the tools they need to live the lives they were created to live. Our faith-based, peer-to-peer approach has one of the highest success rates of any program available today, offering hope and understanding to those who need it most. By aligning their lives to biblical principles, these men and women are able to lead their families, their communities, and our nation. It's your generosity that can make a difference in the lives of the men and women who have fought for our country and our freedoms. Now that they're home, don't let them fight alone. Learn more at mightyoaksprograms.org.
And welcome back to On the Money. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, and I'm joined today by Ryan Wheless and Peter Lott of Allied Wealth. Gentlemen, a wonderful show we're having, and a great lesson in flying, which was perfect.
You didn't know you were going to get a flight lesson today, did you, Cynthia?
But I love it. I'm so excited about it because obviously it ties into the importance of financial planning. It's all about planning, whether it be flight planning or planning your retirement. So important. This segment, I'd love to talk to you a little bit about pension options, because I know people in the viewing audience are probably wondering what they're going to do with their pension, or if they still even have a pension option, because they are kind of becoming a thing of the past, correct, Peter?
They are. You know, they've become a thing of the past. We haven't seen a lot of pensions, new companies providing pensions. It's kind of a thing that's for the older guys, but they're great tools where they can fit in at. You've got a couple of headwinds, though. One, you've got inflation, because that pension payment is going to be the same payment today as it is 20 years from now. So if we're seeing the inflation that we're seeing, is that going to be enough for you?
Yeah.
So there's so many options that depend on what you want to do. Do you want to take a lump sum? Do you take the pension? There's survivorship benefits, whatever it is, we want to include that in the overall plan and just figure out, maybe it's best to take the lump sum.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not. You just want to figure out kind of where it needs to be inside of your plan. But they're fantastic when you've got them, and I wish they had more of them. I really do.
Yeah, definitely. So it's really a case-by-case situation if someone should take the lump sum option or spread out their payments. How do you help determine the right fit?
It's the same way that we focus on planning a flight, Cynthia.
Yeah.
You know, is there mountainous terrain ahead of us? Can we make it, if we lose the engine at 1,500 feet or right up the runway, can we make it up to 10,000 feet and clear that mountain and get to where we need to go? It's the same thing, right? It's, do you take that lump sum? Do you take the payout? Do you do a reduced sum and do a joint life payout? Some people even try to buy life insurance with some of the money to get a lump sum in the future, because, you know, if you take the payout and you die, there's no money left for anybody else. It stops, right? And then, you know, as Pete said, one of the interesting things about a pension is it's not inflation adjusted. So if you started getting $5,000 a month today, in 20 years at 3% inflation, you have to have $9,000 a month to be the same value of $5,000 a month today. Wow. If you run that out to 30 years, that same $5,000 in 30 years has to be $12,000 in 30 years to have the same purchasing power today. Wow. It's a massive difference, and it doesn't go up. And, you know, with a husband and wife, hopefully, that are on the joint payouts from the pension, and guys at home, If you don't put your spouse on your pension and you die, she's going to wake you up and kill you all over again. So don't be that guy. But you know, it's one of those things where when they both do pass on, there's no money left over for heirs, right? So it just depends on what you're trying to accomplish. But we do believe that pension is sacred money, and we absolutely want to make that the most sacred part and the safest part of the portfolio we can, because that should always be there for you, just the same way a pension payment would be. Now, there's a couple of risks here.
Okay.
The first risk, Cynthia, that's interesting that we see a lot of is pension plans are actually being bought out today. All right? And what that means, you're getting these pension payments, and all of a sudden you get this letter from your pension provider, and they say, hey, we're buying your pension out. Or we can give you an out, and you can take a lump sum of cash and go invest it and try to do something different. Oftentimes, the lump sum of cash that you get is discounted for the payments you've already received, and is not enough to continue producing the amount of payments that you were getting in the first place. So it's scary, right, if that happens.
Absolutely.
And you know, so people think pensions are absolutely guaranteed. They are in some instances, but you can be bought out. So be careful with that. Another instance is when people are, this is the pilot in me, right, is right now rates are going up.
Yeah.
And lump sum pension values are calculated based on interest rates. And the higher the rates go, interest rates rise, the further your lump sum value falls.
Oh boy.
Okay, so let's say you're somebody who's making $150,000 a year.
Yep.
And you say, Ryan, I want to work 2 more years and then I'm going to retire. Well, there is a chance that $150,000 a year you make, that $300,000 over that 2 years, if rates go up enough, your pension value could fall as much as $300,000.
Wow.
So you wind up working 2 years for free.
Oh my gosh.
And Cynthia, I've seen this happen before. So folks at home, if you've got a pension, you know, it's one of these things where it's just so important to make sure you're understanding all these variables, because there's just so many variables to it.
Well, there are so many variables in how to retire with confidence and retire comfortably. I mean, Peter, I know that we talked about quite a few of those on today's show, but what are we missing? Are we missing one piece of the pie that we didn't uncover? And I know we only have a minute and a half left of the show, so I'm putting you kind of on the spot.
We talked mostly about aviation, which was awesome.
That's true.
And we wanted to talk about some scary stories, but really there's not really many scary stories in the airplane because there is so much redundancy in there.
Yeah.
There's so many things that we do, and we put that to our plans.
Yeah.
There's ways that we run this out so we can see and fine-tune exactly how it's going to fly for you and give you a glide path, right? Give you a glide path for retirement.
So coming in here, we were going through some clouds, and Pete saw a mountain, and he got scared. He's like, I can't see. I saw the mountain there.
There's a cloud and a mountain.
I can't see the mountain anymore.
I can't see blue skies.
And so I said, Pete, it's okay because we have minimum safe altitudes in the various sectors that we're in, and the controller's not going to let us go below that. So we're not going to hit the mountain, but it's going to be okay.
So I was okay.
His eyes got real big. So folks, listen, if any of what we've talked about has resonated with you, I invite you to take advantage of the financial flight plan. You can do so by calling 844-944-7555. You can click the QR code on the screen, go to onthemoneytv.com. Again, the number is 844-944-7555.
Ryan, thank you so much. Peter, thank you so much. To the viewers at home, thank you for spending time with us. That number to call is 844-944-7555. Be safe, be happy, be blessed. We'll see you back 1 week from today.